to the United Stand. Welcome to Countdown to Kickoff, as it is official that Patrick Dorgu signs for Manchester United. Could there be an unveiling at Old Trafford in just under 2 hours' time? The new number 13, that is his shirt number, Patrick Dorgu. We've got some quotes to come out as well, the official fee plus add-ons. But Mordzs and the chat, get your comments in. How are you initially feeling now that this deal is done? We do have official one incoming of the January transfer window, a left wing back, Patrick Dorgu.
I mean, overall, it's definitely needed. I think everyone can admit, you know what, this is one position that we've all been speaking about throughout this whole season. Well, since Amram's come in, pretty much. We've needed this left wing back, and not necessarily even because, you know, we've had like injuries. It's just the people that we have there are not supposed to be left wing backs. Dalot's not a left wing back. We've had like, people speaking about Luke Shaw potentially playing there. He's not a left wing back. We don't have a specialist player in that position, so it's definitely a position that we've needed. And in terms of Dorgu as a player, I'll be so honest. I'm so like open-minded to the whole, to how good he is. I feel like there's people trying to, you know, throw out these compilations of, oh, he can't take on players and stuff like that. I'm not listening to anything. I'll wait until I see it with my own two eyes in the United top how good he is before I actually make any kind of judgments on like how he plays. Exactly,
that's what you've got to do. You can research him, you can look into him, but you'll never know until he's playing in the Premier League in a United shirt. It's just different. I mean, there's some players that look unbelievable. They come to Manchester United and they crumble. We've had that so many times. Like all of our big money signings, the majority of them have not worked out. Okay, we have had signings like this where you take a gamble and they've also not worked. Manchester United's success rate isn't too high when it comes to transfers right now. But there is some players that come in and do surprise you and do really well. And I really hope that Patrick Dorgu is one of them. Super young, has the attributes that fits Ruben Amorim's system. I'm excited for this player and I cannot wait to see him play. I'm hoping he plays against Leicester on Friday. Yeah,
I'm definitely excited to see him play. Also, like you said, he's still only 20 years old. We're going to have this whole 20-year-old thing forever now. I feel like with Hoyland we were saying it, with Garnacho we were saying it. My friend texted
me and saying United have turned into a youth centre.
I feel like everyone in our team is just like under 23 now. Well, not everyone obviously, but like we've got so many players that are, like I said, under that 23 age, especially like in the academy as well. Chido, we've just signed Aiden.
Just realised actually, I said the first incoming, but we have actually signed Aiden Heaven, and he's coming to the first team as well. So
yeah, he's what, 18, I think, 18. So another young player, a lot of potential. Same age as, well, similar age as like Euro. So it's not like he's, you know, too young to even have an opportunity to start playing. I think once we, you know, start going later on into the season, we might see him like have a few, maybe like 2 5-minute appearances. Maybe there's like a game that we've won like 3-0, which, I mean, United, I don't know if that's even possible. But let's say we're just winning like 3-4 in like a cup game or something, we might see him like, you know, have a few minutes here and there. But yeah, I think the fact that we do have a strong, like young core in our club right now, and a lot of players coming up from the academy as well, I think that's positive for us.
I do as well. It sets the right foundation you're building for the future. Dorgu's got that pace and power that's needed in the Premier League, so that excites me. Super young, like you said. It's just whether, you know, he's ready for the now. It is a risk. We know he wasn't our first choice signing, but he has got what Ruben Amorim wants, and you can see we're already looking. Wing backs is such an important area of the pitch. We're already looking to the summer for Kenda from Sporting Lisbon, 17, another youthful signing, but he looks like the real deal as well. Imagine having Kenda on the right and then Dorgu on the left, 20 and 17, and they both got the pace, they both got the power, but I've seen more of Kenda, and Kenda looks like a real prospect. Then you're looking at the wing backs at the start of the season, you're thinking, right, we've got Mazraoui and Dalot, who are not even really wing backs, they're just like kind of filling in there at full backs. And then you fast forward to the start of next season, and you've got Kenda and Dorgu, who will fly in this Ruben Amorim system. It gets you excited because I think that's a big reason why we are struggling to score goals, is because we're not providing enough from our width, and it gives you that, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think this season's kind of proved how valuable the wing-back position is, because whenever we've seen, for example, a player like Ahmad, who, he's our best attacking player anyway, to be fair, but whenever he's been at wing-back, we just seem to play better. You know, we just seem to perform a lot better. Whenever Dalot's having a good game, I feel like
He has had a few good games, but not every game.
Dalot's been iffy this season, definitely. I think no one's going to deny that. But when he has had a good game, I feel like the team just had a good game in general. We played a lot better. Whenever Mazraoui's had a good game at wing-back as well, we played better. And that's kind of shows how valuable that wing-back position is. When those two wing-backs are flying and having a great game, everything just seems to kind of gel.
It's true, and Dalot's, I think, more capable of doing it than Mazraoui there. I've already said, I think Mazraoui is a very good player and he's going to be a really important part of this Ruben Amorim project, but for me he's a centre-back. You can fill in at wing-back. I see Dalot more as a wing-back, but still not providing exactly what we need, but he just does show glimpses of it sometimes. I will talk about Dalot's future in a bit because he's going to be interesting, especially if we do sign Kenda from Sporting in the summer as well.
Somebody who's 17, that's crazy.
I know, it's crazy. Let's get the official fee in for Patrick Dorgu. So Patrick Dorgu signs for Manchester United, a contract until 2030 with the official fee of £25 million plus £4 million in add-ons, taking it to under £30 million deal.
I'll take that.
Decent, isn't it? Very decent. Especially when they were quoting us like over 35 million. You know, we've got it under 30 million. A decent deal, especially considering how desperate Manchester United were. Patrick Dorgu has been speaking and he said, I am incredibly proud to be able to call myself a Manchester United player. This is a very special day for my whole family. I cannot wait to work with Ruben Amorim. His vision for this team and the future of the club is incredibly exciting. There is a clear plan set out for my development and I feel that Manchester United is the perfect place to fulfil my potential and complete my huge ambitions.
Wow.
Love that quote. And do you know what I pick out of that, which again shows me that we are changing, is he says there is a clear plan set out for my development. Because I think so often in the past we've signed players but we've not had a journey to take them on. We've not had a plan of how we're going to get the best out of them. We signed Jadon Sancho, okay, yeah, it was a lot of money, but his attributes just did not fit the style of football we were playing whatsoever. There was no plan of how to get the best out of Jadon Sancho. It's like taking Dortmund Sancho and just expecting him to do it in a completely different team. There was never a plan. I feel like often we've signed players and there's no plan for them. But Patrick Dorgu, he's saying it himself. There's a clear vision, there's a clear plan, there's a position there that fits him like a glove that he's going to develop and build into. And he's talking about the manager as well, which is really important because you want the player and the manager to be on the same wavelength. Yeah,
and I think with Dorgu as well, I said this on the, I think the last build-up show we did about Højlund. I feel like because he costs so much money, it kind of goes out the window what I'm about to say, but his development was never taken into consideration. I feel like he's a player that kind of just got brought into the club and thought, you know what, you just have to be good now. We didn't actually think, well, he's not necessarily ready, so maybe we should actually just work on the player, try and build him up to the point where he's ready, and then we can start playing him regularly. We just kind of just brought him in and said, like, be good, like, right now, and if you're not good, then it's a problem. But realistically, we should have worked on how we're going to, like I said, train him, develop him, coach him into being a top striker, into being a first-team striker before he actually became a starting, number 9 for the club. And I feel like with Dorgu, hopefully we don't make that mistake. Because in my opinion, it's been really harsh on Højlund, because he's not been good, obviously, of late. And it kind of just feels like the tide's just swinging now. Everyone's kind of getting onto him a lot, and there's a lot of negativity around his name. I really don't want that to happen with Dorgu. I really want him to be able to be eased into the team. And if it does mean that he doesn't play every single game and he's rotated a lot and he's playing maybe 30 minutes here, he might start 1 or 2 games, but it means that his development's going to be better. I'd rather that than him just be thrown into the firing line and he has to start every single game playing 90 minutes because we need him so much. I agree, and I do think there's more pressure on the striker position than there would be at a left wing back position, but I do agree people need to set their expectations to a realistic standard. He is 20. He is going to need time to develop. If you allow him to have that time without completely shattering him straight away, there's more chance he's going to be a success. So, number 13, Danish player as well. A lot of people asking about his nationality in the chat. Get your super chats in, by the way. Get your opinions in. Another Danish player, wow.
Yeah, we are going to talk about the game in Crystal Palace, but we have to cover about the breaking news in the transfer window. Patrick Dorgu officially signing. There is another quote here from Jason Wilcox, who is heavily involved in the recruitment for Manchester United, and he has said, Patrick is a really exciting talent. His strong defensive and attacking attributes, adaptability and work rate will make him a key part of Ruben Amorim's squad. Patrick has had a superb start to his career, and at just the age of 20, we know he will continue to develop under the guidance of our excellent coaching team. Patrick is the latest exciting young player that we've brought into the club. We believe that each of these talents has world-class potential and the ability to play a key role in achieving the success that everyone at Manchester United is striving for. So again, a good quote. Another thing I pick out is Ruben Amorim's squad, the adaptability, the attributes for Ruben Amorim's squad. Do you remember when we signed Donny van der Beek and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer didn't even want him? And like he had no, like even though Donny was such a huge prospect at the time, even Real Madrid were interested, he just did not suit what we were trying to do. It wasn't an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer signing. He wasn't scouted for the way he wants to play. We are going about recruitment differently. There's never going to be a 100% success rate, but we're actually going and identifying players with the attributes that this manager needs.
Yeah, 100%. And the Van der Beek thing is kind of, that's a sad story, I'll be honest. He wasn't anyone's favourite, even when Ten Hag came in. Considering Ten Hag was his previous manager, he still didn't get any play time. But yeah, I think that it's great. Everything sounds very too good to be true. Not too good to be true, but it sounded like it's all making sense. You know, the manager speaking highly of him, the players obviously he clearly wants to be at the club. He wants to develop here. He wants his future to be here. They're both excited to kind of work together. It sounds good. Now we just need to see it in real life. That's what everyone's kind of waiting for. We get it, like press, and we want it to sound like it's a great signing, but I just want to see it now. Let's see if it's going to work because we really need it to work. We
do. Just quickly, before we move on to Palace, where do you think if, obviously, Patrick Dorgu hits the ground running, he hopefully solidifies that left wing-back spot, which is what we want. Yeah. We know Molassie is on his way out, even though his loan move to Benfica's collapsed. It's obvious that he's not part of the future. Something will end up happening, whether it's now, before deadline day, or on deadline day, or in the summer. He's not part of the future. So you hope Patrick Dorgu takes that number one spot at left wing-back. You're Luke Shaw, you can't rely. And plus, he's probably more of a left-sided centre-back anyway, nowadays, the age he's at, and the injury record he's had, and the workload that puts on his body. So Patrick Dorgu for the left wing-back spot. Say if we do get Quenda in the summer, which I think is very likely, considering David Ornstein's already talking about it, and he doesn't put things out there if it's not going to happen. Ruben Amorim loves Quenda. So you have your right and left wing-back. Where does that leave a player like Dalot? Is that for you? Should he be up for sale to cash in on? Should he be cover for both them positions? Do you think he might still be starting games at left or right wing back because Dorgu and Kenda are so young? Yeah,
I think that's what you made. That's probably where I'm going to start off.
Senior player.
He's a bit more of a senior player. And with me, I get it. Dalot hasn't had a great season, and I'm not even going to try and sugarcoat it or try and hide it. He hasn't, but I feel like he brings something else to the club. He brings a bit more passion. He brings a bit more mentality to the club. And I feel like we need a strong mentality when it comes to certain players.
You need leadership.
Yeah,
and
you need it.
You need experience. And he is an experienced player now. It's been at the club for a long time.
Yeah, and I think that's super important. I know people are going to say, but mentality is so good if you can't play, but he isn't terrible. Let's not act like he wasn't our best player last season.
He sets the example as well.
Exactly.
He's one of the best trainers. Benny McCarthy come out and said if everyone trained like Bruno and Dalot, we'd be in a lot better position. He sets the example to young players. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So you need that sort of them behaviours happening behind the scenes to set the example to the younger players. I agree with that.
100%. So that's probably one of the main reasons why I wouldn't say we don't need Dalot, just get rid of him. I'm maybe some people are kind of swaying to that way. I'm not really on that side. I think Dalot is still a very valuable player in our squad.
I agree, and you can't just have one person for every position. Like Steve Labo says, Dalot stays, we need multiple players in every position for rotation, competition, rest, injury and suspension. And if you haven't seen the Dalot interview on the United Stand, there's actually part 1 and part 2. I actually did ask him about Dorgu coming in and the competition for places, and he said he's had to compete for his place his whole career at Manchester United, and it should always be the case. So he had a good attitude around it, and you need at least 2 players for each position. 2 good players as well.
I can imagine Dorgu coming in and Dalot just turns into a crazy player.
Well, Ricky's already messaged me multiple times saying he thinks Dalot will still start it left.
Yeah,
until he develops a bit because he's young.
I agree. I don't think he's just going to walk into the first team and just be like a starting player every single game. I think that would be a big mistake if he did that. I said it literally 10 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago. We need to actually develop him first. build him up to the player that we need, and then we should be starting him every game. If we just throw him into the firing line, and he might start off good, but then as soon as he has 1 or 2 bad games, I mean, we know what the fan base is like. It's a bit of a toxic fan base. People will turn very quickly, so I really don't want that to happen. So I would rather Dalot still taking the heavy load and still be, the main guy for now, until Dorgu is fully fit, fully ready, and trained to the system, and then he can, walk into that position.
Alex is in the chat with the super chat saying, thank you, the United Stand team. Thank you, Beth, for Bucharest. And I know exactly who this is, a photographer I met over in Bucharest. Very nice guy, really great photographer, and some fantastic pictures he sent us over. So thank you very much for that. And I appreciate your super chat. Neil Edelston, a member for 1 month, says, good to see United going back to basics, doing what Busby did and building a young team. Yeah. And like we said, it's all well and good building a young team, and you want to build that foundation, but you also have to have the experienced players there. And we also do need players that are ready for now. Speaking about players that are ready for now, Mordzs, let's talk a little bit about what we think our lineup will be for the Crystal Palace game. You've got Manchester United's form there. 2025... Sorry, it's 2025, isn't it?
Yeah, been here for a month now.
Yeah, I know. Things are looking up for Manchester United. So, the last 5 games, we had a 2-0 win against FCSB. We had a 1-0 win versus Fulham. We had a 2-1 win versus Rangers. We did have that 3-1 loss versus Brighton, which is where Ruben Amorim went and spoke to Sir Jim afterwards and was like, get me a left wing back. And then we had the 3-1 win versus Southampton. So, we've got 4 wins in 5. But it's interesting looking at it because I'm thinking the 3-1 win at Southampton, that was a bad performance.
Yeah.
The 3-1 loss versus Brighton, obviously it was a bad performance. The 2-1 win versus Rangers was a bit sluggish, but we got there. The 1-0 win versus Fulham, that performance was not great. We were lucky with that Martinez goal. And then the 2-0 win versus FCSB, to be fair, first half was a little bit sluggish still, but second half we really looked like a team that was progressing. So there's been slight improvements, but the performance needs to
100%. And if you just look at it on paper, it looks like, wow, what's going on? We're actually turning the corner. But like you said, the performance-wise, I think the last 45 minutes that we played, like you said, that's probably one of our best, honestly, I think that's one of our best 45 minutes that we've seen.
Under Ruben Amorim?
Yeah, 100%. One of them anyway. There's been a couple that have been up there, but it's always, and the problem is it's always a 45 minutes. It's never like the best 90 minutes we've seen or the best, the best run of 2-3 games. It's always like, okay, we played good for a good 45 minutes and that's it. Hopefully we can kind of, I always say this, you pretty much, this technically isn't true, innit, but you're as good as your last game, innit? And if we kind of go off our momentum from our last game, from that last 45 minutes anyway, and we take that into this Palace game, we're going to have a very good chance of getting the 3 points. And this Palace game isn't going to be easy. I mean, we are at Palace's level. We literally are next to them in the table. We're literally one. How many points have we above them? Maybe 1 or 2 points, something like that. Or maybe 3, I don't know. But we are a mid-table team right now.
We are in 12th place on 29 points. They are on 13th place in 27 points. So there's 2 points between us.
2 points, yeah. So we are literally...
We've climbed a bit. We're nearly in the top half. Mad. I'm looking at Spurs down there in 16th, and it actually blows my mind. But we can't really talk, we're in 12th, but yeah, there's 2 points between us. So very similar levels. And Crystal Palace have been a bogey team for us. Yeah. Like a lot of them sort of teams have been.
Yeah, everyone's a bogey team for
They've been... We've had some results against them, but they're always a tough team to play against.
They beat us 4-0. That's just
that is nothing. That was at Selhurst, to be fair. We are at Old Trafford
same team,
today.
I don't know, Old Trafford to me, it's kind of lost a little bit. It's not as, unfortunately, innit? Maybe hopefully it'll grow to become a fortress again, but Old Trafford hasn't been that big of a difference maker in recent time.
We are going to talk a little bit about Marcus Rashford in a second, because it has come in from David Ornstein that Marcus Rashford is now undergoing a medical ahead of completing his loan move to Aston Villa from Manchester United. Villa are set to pay a minimum of 3/4 of Rashford's salary and up to 90% depending on performance-based bonuses. Option to buy is 40 million at this moment in time. So there's not many details around the option to buy yet, but hopefully they'll start to come out in due course. But we've got loads of time to speak about Marcus Rashford while he does his medical. Before team news comes in, I want to ask you guys in the chat, please get your comments in, let us know, and ask Mordzs as well. What would your starting 11 be today if you were Ruben Amorim and you were picking the starting 11?
Okay, so I was going to say goalkeeper's easy. It's not. Actually, I'm going to say Onana. Just
sticking with him.
Yeah, he played the Fulham game. It was comfortable. Like, they didn't really do a lot anyway, so there wasn't really much to go off. So I'm still going to say Onana for now in the Premier League, and then Bayern they can play like the cup games. Centre backs, Martinez, I think he's really picked up recently.
He has.
He's really picked up compared to how he was at the start of the season. He's definitely improved a lot. His passing, he breaks those lines probably the best out of probably all of our players. I don't think there's a player in our team that can play it into those channels better than Martinez, anyways, so far this season. So I'm going to keep him in the team. Maguire, so he's probably been one of our best centre backs this season.
And he didn't play last game.
So he's got a bit more fitness to him. Last place, I'm gonna stick with Dalot.
Okay, I'd do a different back three to you.
Yeah, I feel like some people are gonna either go like Mazraoui or Euro, but I'm still gonna stick with Dalot just because I feel like that's just the most sturdy back three that we have, and it's just the most comfortable. In my opinion, it's the most comfortable we have. So I'm gonna stick with those three. Wing backs, Dalot obviously on the left, and on the right. This is where I might go with Ahmad. I'm going to go with Ahmad on the right. And the reason why I'm going to go with Ahmad on the right is because in the 210s, I want Mainoo and Garnacho. They're my 210s today. And in the middle, Bruno, Ugarte. Striker, I'll be honest. Flip a coin. I'm actually not too bothered.
I'd say Cheeto, get your boots on, mate.
Yeah, I'll pick Xerxes in it because Højlund's just been, he's not been great. So, yeah, Xerxes up top. That's my starting 11.
Okay, mine's very similar. I'd make one change.
Yeah.
And it's not, honestly, it's nothing to do with the performance levels because I think Dalot has been fantastic. I think he's been underrated. He's one of my favourite United players at the moment. And I thought he was brilliant against FCSB.
Yeah.
But I do think Maguire should start today because of, the rotation.
Yeah.
I think Dalot and Maguire's both their best positions are central centre-back. I do think Dalot can play right-sided centre-back. I think he can do that. But in terms of just rotation and keeping players fresh, I'd bring Maguire into that central role. But I would play Mazraoui right-sided centre-back.
Over Dalot?
Oh, I would today, yeah, because I think no harm in giving Dalot a break. And I think what it is with Mazraoui when he's on that right side, he just covers the space so well and he's good on the ball. Like, he drives into midfield, his passing's really good. He's the best right-sided centre-back we have on the ball right now. Yeah,
I agree.
So in terms of driving up the pitch and playing it out, and it just progresses the ball up the pitch. So I would go with Mazraoui on the right side. I'd go with Maguire central, and I'd go with Martinez on the left side. Because I think when you've got Martinez and Mazraoui, you've got two wide centre-backs that both can cover the space because Martinez has played left-back before as well. Both drive into the midfield, both progress the ball up the pitch, and then you've got that anchor with Maguire or Dalot in the middle.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd do. I agree with you. I'd go with Kobe and Garnacho in 10 and Ahmad on the right. You need that attacking wing-back.
Yeah.
And I think Ugarte and Bruno is a nice little pivot in there. It works.
Well,
Swapping Bruno and Mainoo's worked, hasn't it?
We've been saying it for. That's probably the one thing that everyone's kind of been saying for not a long time, but a few weeks, and we saw it, and it actually worked out. I remember there was a time where everyone was saying, "Oh, who was it? I think it was like play Xerxes in the 10. That'd be his best position," and then we played it, and then it was just like completely flopped, and it never happened again. But with Mainoo in the 10 and Bruno a bit deeper, it actually it makes it way more balanced, in my opinion, because it means that Bruno doesn't get exposed as much. Because when I say exposed, I mean more in a case of, I say this all the time, Bruno is just 100 times better when he's got a lot of space, he's got a lot more time. Because he likes to drop deep anyway and just pick the ball up when he wants to get on the ball a lot more. So it just gives him a lot more time on the ball. He's way more disciplined, way more responsible on the ball. He's not forcing a lot of passes because he's playing a bit further back. He can link up play a little bit better. And then mainly up top, I think he's just so talented on the ball. Like, he's got such quick feet. Technically, he's got a great first touch. And people talking about his pace and that he's slow. I'll be honest, he gets in behind very well.
He was floating into them left spaces very nicely.
Easily.
His pace did not look a problem at all in that position. It's interesting. Like, it is a different. It's different when you're, running into space, moving forward, than it is, trying to mop up a whole midfield.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just think swapping Bruno and Mainoo, like we've talked about for so long, is made us a more balanced team, like you said. Like, Bruno's so much more disciplined when he's in the deeper role. He dictates from the back. He moves the ball at the pitch.
Yeah.
His positional awareness is better, and I actually think when Bruno is in the 10, sometimes you notice his pace a little bit, not being quite there.
Yeah.
I know it's different playing against, like a Premier League side, and that's going to be the test today if Mainoo does play 10 than it is FCSB. But FCSB have still done decently in Europe. But like you said, Mainoo just glided into them spaces. He picked up them pockets, and the ball just sticks to his feet.
Yeah.
So the link-up play with bringing other players in and getting you into that final third and keeping you there, it works.
And anyway, we saw it a lot last game anyway. Bruno and Mainoo are naturally just going to swap positions during the game. Like, they would constantly, like, Bruno was like going a bit forward, and you saw, you'll probably see it again today, every time Bruno would drift forward, Mainoo would just naturally drift further back just to cover anyway, because naturally Mainoo has been playing a lot deeper in his first team career, so it works out. Even if Bruno does want to, like, go forward and make a run, Mainoo's not just going to be like, oh, I'm a 10, so I'm going to stay here. He's going to understand the game. He's got a good IQ of the game anyway, and he's naturally going to cover that space so then we don't get counter-attacked on, and like we have a lot in the past. So I think those two players, and as well, Ricky says this all the time, having more natural midfielders in the 10 actually helps us in terms of shape, because Mainoo's he understands that I need to cover a certain space of the pitch, like I said, in case of a transition. And Crystal Palace are going to try and play in a transition today. They're not going to play possession-based football. They're going to try and play in a transition. They play free at the back like us. They play very similar to us anyway. And they're going to try and, counter-attack us and stuff like that. So we're going to need a player like Mainoo, players like Bruno, to kind of stay in shape, stay in position, so that we're not just getting run through like we have in the past.
Yeah, I agree with you there, and I think it'll be very interesting to see how he performs in that 10 role against the likes of a Crystal Palace, because I do think he will start there.
Yeah.
And like you said, with the pace of Garnacho next to him, it just made him look a lot better as well.
Yeah.
You've got to pair players that can complement each other.
Yeah.
And Mainoo, very good on the ball, very good at making it stick, very good technically, very good at seeing the spaces. Garnacho, that's not quite his game, but what he is good at is progressing the ball at the pitch, finding them spaces out wide, having that pace to get in behind, scaring defenders, dragging players away, giving Cobby that space. So I think they work together in them 2-10 spots.
And he links with Ahmad very well as well.
Yeah, he does.
So if he's playing on the right-hand side compared to the left, and Ahmad's on the right-hand side, I think it's going to work very good as well.
It would. Yeah, he can do either, left or right. You have Ronnie Dodge saying, I think Eze has a knock, but we have to win today. Yeah, Eze...
Is he not playing?
Eze's out.
Oh.
So that's good for us.
Last week.
Also, a lot of people talking about Euro, an opportunity for Euro.
He was starting 3 centre-backs for the last game.
It was Mazraoui, Dalot and Martinez.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what it is, right? I honestly think Euro's best role right now is getting them like 20 minutes off the bench.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to do him a world of good confidence-wise, because every time he comes off the bench, we win. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Every time, it's like when you see Euro waiting there, coming on the pitch, we win the game.
Yeah.
Like, when he comes up from the bench, he's so smooth. The kind of assurance you have in him is there. Like, he's got that confidence, and he's been so good off the bench. The couple of starts he has had, he's looked a little bit shaky, but he's 18. That's going to happen. But you can see the potential there, and you can see how good this player could be, considering he's only 18, 19 years old. I think he's still 18. But I think his best role is coming off that bench.
Yeah, I'm so happy with Yoro coming off the bench. I'm a huge, I'm a fan of Yoro. I want him to progress and become our starting centre-back in the future. He is definitely the future of Manchester United in the defensive roles. But I'm so happy with him being a substitute. And I think one thing that we need to kind of stop doing...
He's 19, sorry.
19, same thing anyway. One thing we need to kind of stop doing, I feel like, is forcing players to become starters quickly.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually fine for a player to be a substitute, especially if they're young. Like, it's perfectly fine for them to be a sub, a good sub. Maybe they can start cup games here and there and whatnot, but just because a player has a few good performances off the bench doesn't mean he has to now become a starter. Like, it's fine for them to be a sub and continue to be a sub, develop them, grow them into the player until they are fully good enough to be a consistent starter, and then we can throw them in. But right now, I don't think Euro's complaining being a substitute right now. There's no like real defensive problems where you can say, I deserve to start. You know what I mean? Like, we've still got Martinez, Maguire, Dalot, and like I said, Mazraoui can still play in that position as well. They're still capable players, in that position. So I think it's a good thing that he's been able to have a comfortable development process into becoming a starter instead of just being thrown in straight away. I prefer that, in my opinion. I
have to agree with what you're saying, Mordzs. Really do agree. I'm agreeing with everything today. You've got someone in the chat was asking me about Crystal Palace's away record, so I've just got it up because obviously Manchester United are at home today. So their home record is 11 points so far this season, and their away record is 16 points. So they have actually got more points away from home, which doesn't bode well for Manchester United. If you look at the previous games that Manchester United have played against Crystal Palace and our results, we had a 0-0 draw in September. We then had a 4-0 loss in May. Then we had a 1-0 loss the September beforehand, and that was at home. We had a 3-1 win at home and then a 2-0 win at home. So the last 3 games, the most recent ones, has been draw, loss, and then before that we had 2 wins. So, we are capable of winning against Crystal Palace, but in recent times we have struggled against them. Yeah. So I remember that. Tough day today. The 4-0 was bad. I don't even want to talk about the 4-0 because, to be fair, Elise was playing and he's not there today, so it's not really. It was Casemiro. That was the nail in his coffin at United. That game. Wow. I remember there's that like video going around of like, I think it's like the referee's cam or something like that, but there's like a body cam. It must have been a referee. And like, you can see Elise's goal where like he's controlled the ball, Casemiro just come running in, and he just kind of like skipped past him, ran through about 3 players, and then just shot. I think it must have been, was it De Gea or was it Onana? I can't remember. It must have been Onana. It was last season. And I was watching the goal and I thought, wow, that was great from Elise, but defensively that was horrible. And I think Casemiro was sent about that game as well. So it kind of, like, we were just in the mud, I'll be honest. That's why I don't even want to talk about it. We were in the mud and Elise was just balling out, so it was one of those games. But the 1-0, I remember I even watched that game and it was such a, I feel like Crystal Palace were in a completely different place at that moment in time compared to how they are now. I feel like they've gone through a little bit of a, even though they're still a mid-table team, I feel like they're still going through a bit of a transition as well, because I feel like Eze's had a difficult season this year. He's not been the best player that we've seen him. They've tried to recruit in that like offensive areas with like Nketiah. He's not really worked out. Mateta's kind of been their only. Mateta's good. Yeah, so I mean, he's kind of been their only real shining light, I guess you can say. But they've not been. I take Mateta United right now. take any striker, but I feel like it's not necessarily the same Crystal Palace that we've seen in the past. I mean, there was a point last season where they were beating Liverpool. They were playing really good football, and I feel like everything's kind of just changed now for Crystal Palace. So it's gonna be a very different game, in my opinion. Yeah, I think Crystal Palace have been on a journey with Glasner. Started off looking unreal, and then they've hit a rough patch, but they've picked up a bit of form recently. Yeah. So of course, Man United are playing them when they've picked up a little bit of form. I mean, I'm just looking here at Crystal Palace's last games in terms of their form. They did get beat 2-1 off Brentford in the last game, but before that, it was a 2-0 win at West Ham, 2-0 win against Leicester, 1-0 win against. Who's that team? Stockport County, and then a 1-1 draw against Chelsea. So picked up their results. Yeah. Shocking that Brentford did beat them, because Brentford usually aren't great away from home, and they did beat them at Selhurst. But like I said, Crystal Palace's away form has actually been better than their home form. So going to be a tough game. Definitely can't doubt them. They've got some strong players in there. Sarr's going to be tough. Yeah. Munoz is going to be tough. Yeah. Mateta, we know how much of a handful he can be, which is why I definitely think Maguire will start today. But get your predictions in and let me know your thoughts. Got some super chats in too. before official team news is out. Gerard Stokes says, crazy Rashford didn't play and is third in our top scorers this season. That's the problem. Ahmad is top with 6. We need to score more goals. We need to score more goals.
Third.
And I'm sorry, Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee need to step up.
100%.
Like, there's no excuses for it. Honestly, I know the young players, but they need, as strikers, they need to be stepping up. Service conversation, we can have it over and over and over again. We do need to provide more service, but they have to be doing more than what they're doing right now. It's just not good enough.
I'm not hearing a service thing anymore. I accepted it last season. I accepted it at the start of this season. I've been making too many excuses now. I'm sorry.
When you look across the Premier League, try and find teams that Højlund and Zirkzee start for up front, and you'll struggle.
Højlund in the Premier League has the same amount of goals as Martinez. That's embarrassing.
Talk to me, Mordzs. Liam Delap, would you take it? Would you go for him?
Ipswich.
Yeah.
Well, from what I've seen of him, he's better than them two, but he plays for Ipswich, so it's still a different.
He's tearing it up in the top flight. And Ipswich, do you think Ipswich are providing like loads of service to him every week? He is a beast up
Ipswich
front.
have some decent players.
He's strong.
Amari Hutchinson, they've got some decent players.
Yeah,
in there.
he's strong. He's in the box. He gets himself into the right positions. I know he's young, but he's someone that I think we should be watching.
How is he again?
I think he's like 21.
21. Yeah, he's a good player. Did he score against us or did he almost score? I think Onana made that great save, but he almost scored. Yeah, but yeah, he's a good player. He's a good player.
John O'Neill says, Beth, how tiring was the journey? Will the players be tired? I mean, it was tiring because I didn't get back to like 3 a.m, but the players will have had like a private plane and like they would have been. Yeah. They will be fine. They'll be absolutely fine, I think. Ronnie Dodd says, I think Eze has a knock, but we do have to win today. Yep, Eze is out. Vertic says, as a Dane, I am loving that we have signed Dorgu. Thank you, everyone, for your super chats. Any more comments, get them in. Let me know how you're feeling about the game, any predictions. Before team news comes in, I'll get a comment from Mordzs about Marcus Rashford to Aston Villa. What are your thoughts on that loan move for him and the negotiation from Manchester United as well? Do you think they've got a decent deal out of it?
Well, I think obviously they lost Duran to Saudi, so...
Wild, by the way.
Yeah. I think he's earning the same amount that Rashford earns at Saudi.
He's 21 and he's got the world at his feet, Duran. I thought he was super talented. Like, you know, he was probably on for like a move to a top club.
Yeah. Decided
to pick money over football.
But it's the fact that he's 21, you are right in what you're saying, but the fact that he's 21 means that he could stay at Saudi for 5 years and still not be in his prime. Like, he could come back to the Premier League at 26, at 27, had 5 years of earning a stupid amount of money, completely sort out his whole generation for generations and generations, and then come back to the Prem at 27 and be in his prime. So I don't think it's like his career's done. Like there's certain players that when they go Saudi, I just think, yeah, your career's done now. Like that's it. There's no more coming back for you. But Duran, I feel like he can still come back and have a good career. But
you're not gonna. That league isn't sharp enough for him to be developing at the rate he could have.
He's already a 30 player. I feel unless he drops, like unless he like decrease, like his form, not his form, but like his ability decreases, he's good enough to come back to any league and still play well. I get what you mean, though.
I understand the money point of view, but it's not as if he's like, you know, getting paid nothing. Like the moment, he's still getting paid well as a professional football player. Everyone's entitled to their own choices in life, but I can't get my head around it. I'd so much rather be competing in the top leagues if that was me. But
I know what you mean.
Good luck to him. I just thought he was such a good talent.
It's just, I don't know. Some people have a different mentality.
The fact he went for less money than what we paid for Højlund as well is crazy.
What was the actual fee?
I think it was around 70 million-ish euros. But
anyway, yeah. But back onto Aston Villa. So obviously the fact that they've lost him, that's a huge attacking threat that they're going to need to have some kind of replacement. And I mean, it's even difficult to say that Rashford is a direct replacement for him anyway, because they're not similar players in my opinion. Duran is he's I don't even know what you can even how to describe him. He's just a finisher. He can shoot from anywhere, get you a goal from anywhere, half chances. The main thing that I feel like with Duran that I actually liked, I know this is, I don't know if we're talking about Aston Villa right now, but that I liked and I feel like we actually needed is he can just create a goal or he can score a goal from anywhere. It could just be like a random shot from outside the box, or he could just be I don't even know. It could be anything, but his finishing is so good, and the way he strikes the ball is just so clean. He can kind of just pick out a goal from anywhere, and I feel like we don't even have players that can do that. And I don't think Rashford's that kind of player either. I feel like Rashford is naturally more of a wide player anyway than being like a number 9. So I feel like it's good just in terms of personnel having another attacking player for Villa, but I just don't really see how he's a direct replacement for Duran. But for United, I think it's good just because 70% of his wages are being covered or something like that, or 75% of his wages being covered. That's a lot of money.
Up to 90, depending on how he performs.
Up to 90?
90%.
Wow, that's a lot. It's like almost 300k. That's like 200 and something k. So yeah, I think that's a lot of money off the books. And obviously, to sign him, it'll be completely off the books. But yeah, I think for him as well.
Do you think he'll do well there?
But what is well? Like what is well?
I can't work it out, me. I want him to do well because I want them to buy him for 40 million at the end of the season. And obviously, you know, no matter what's happened, I always want, you know, players that have you know, especially come through the academy and been at the club all of that amount of time to go on and do well. And I think it'd be such a shame if Marcus Rashford's talent didn't you know, go on to reach the heights that we know it can, but I don't see it right now unless he really changes his behaviours off the pitch. Yeah,
I definitely want him to do well. I feel like people who don't want him to do well is weird. I think that's weird because he's not done.
That's just like a personal thing.
That's what I mean, and I don't see how you can have a personal issue with someone that doesn't know who you are. That's just weird. Like, how can you, that's weird to me. But I want him to do well for the exact same reason that you said. He's still someone that came through the club. He's still someone that we all sang his name in the stadiums multiple times. And if you say you didn't, then you're probably lying, because we all did. And we all sat here and watched him week in, week out for multiple seasons. And we wanted him to be the best player that he could possibly be. It just didn't happen at United, and that's perfectly fine. It can go and happen somewhere else. It can happen at Villa, or it could happen at another club. But I still want him to end up being the player that we thought he was going to be. And yeah, maybe that's going to happen at Villa. I don't know. I actually hope it does. Not, you know, I don't want it to be a case where like Villa are better than United and it's because of Rashford. That's going to be pretty hurtful. But I do want him to end up, you know, going on to actually fulfilling his potential that he had when he was young.
Yeah, and if any coach can get it out of him, Unai Emery, I think, is a coach that is renowned for getting the best out of players. The only thing is, for me, there's no doubt that Rashford has talent. It's whether he is going to be motivated by a new challenge, new surroundings, new coaches, new management who doesn't know him. It's a complete fresh start. I think at Manchester United, that motivation sunk and he wasn't doing the right things off the pitch, which is why Amorim's chosen to get rid of him. And no matter how much they've tried to guide him in the right way, he's just not been able to get that motivation back for playing for the club, or else he would have made different decisions. Going to Aston Villa, I think he's got a point to prove everybody who's been writing me off that you know, I can still perform and I can go and smash it. And I hope he uses this as a fresh start. And I think if he does the right things and has the right attitude going into it and the right mentality, and that mentality of, I want to play Champions League football, I want to not, you know, tail off at 27, I want to go and go for an extra 5-6 years in the Premier League and prove people wrong. I want Barcelona to be knocking on for me in the summer and saying, no, we need to go and get Marcus Rashford. He's got the ability, go out there and do the right things. If he has that, he'll be successful. It's just whether that light switch will go on.
Switch on. And you spoke about mentality. I've said it before, I feel like mentality is almost, in fact, I think mentality is probably more important than ability sometimes. I think when it comes to a team and a team success, winning, mentality means so much more. We saw Fergie win the league with, I mean, not say average players, but like just above average players. Whereas if you took that same team, those same individual players, and put them in a completely different team, that team would not win the league with any other manager or any other club. But because of the mentality that Fergie kind of brought to the club and United had at that time, it meant that everyone kind of just performed a lot better. And I feel like at United, the past, well, pretty much since Fergie left, we haven't had that mentality. And the players have been allowed to have poor performances or poor seasons, but continue to kind of continue to play week in, week out. It's something crazy, I think.
It's not crazy, just a lineup.
Oh, lineup's out?
Yeah, it's out.
Go on.
It's just, Højlund and Xerxes both are on the bench.
Who's starting up top?
So that's like the crazy thing for me. So you've got Onana
Yeah.
in goal, so he keeps his place as a goalkeeper. You've got 3 at the back of Martinez, Maguire and Yoro. You've got your wing backs as Mazraoui and Dalot. You've got your midfielders as Ugarte and Bruno. You've got your 2 10s, I'm assuming, as Mainoo and Garnacho, but then you also have Ahmad as well. So it's either Bruno's playing false 9. No, he can't be. Bruno's got to be playing in... It's either Ahmad and Garnacho is the 10s, Bruno is a false 9 and Mainoo back with Ugarte. I don't know how it's going to work.
Be a false 9 with 2 10s and 2 midfielders.
I know, I don't get it.
Wait, can you say that again? Say the whole team again.
So... It's just no striker. Like, I'm so confused.
Say the team again.
So it's Onana.
Yeah, say it again, yeah.
Martinez, Maguire and Yoro.
Martinez and Maguire. You know what would be crazy? No, carry on. Finish the team.
Okay, I know what you're going to say.
Go on.
Dalot and Mazraoui.
Dalot, yeah.
Ugarte, Bruno, Mainoo, Ahmad and Garnacho.
The only player that I've ever seen play striker on Amrim in that team is Martinez. The only player that I've ever seen on the Amrim play striker in that team is Martinez. And he did it for about 45 minutes. He did it for about 20 minutes.
Ahmad is a 9?
No, I'm talking. Obviously, Martinez not going to be striker, but...
Ahmad or... I think it'll be Ahmad or Garnacho. But I actually don't think it will be Garnacho because his hold-up play isn't the best and he's better moving out wide. I think it might be Ahmad, you know. He's our best finisher.
Why? Like, why would he... Like, unless there's like a... Wait, who's on the bench?
The bench is... I'm not mad about it. You know, Hoyland and Xerxes have been stinking up the place for a while. Like, Amarim's sick of it.
Yeah, he probably is.
That's a mess. By the way, that is a message to them too. You are not good enough. And fix up. Because if you're Hoyland or Xerxes, by the way, you've both been benched. There's no striker on the pitch. And what are we in? We're in February now. In the summer, 1,000,000% a striker's coming in. Yeah. Whoever that may be. Maybe even 2 at this rate.
Yeah.
Amarim's saying, you know, fix up or else you're out. Like, you know, because I would be worried if I was both of them players. But the substitutes are Bayinde, Harrison, De Ligt, Lindelof, Casemiro, Collier, Eriksson, Hoyland and Xerxes. So Harrison obviously coming in from the academy.
Is anyone missing out on that bench that normally would be in there?
No, I don't think so. Malacia.
Oh, yeah. Malacia.
So, obviously because he's trying to negotiate a low move out of the club. So, yeah, that's the bench. So, thoughts on that?
Well,
what's your
honestly,
for me,
lost, I'll be honest,
I'm not advocating for Chido Obi Martin to just be thrown into the starting 11. But if Hoyland and Xerxes are not providing, which they're not, at least put Chido on the bench. He's smashing it in the under-21s.
He is.
Put him on the bench and give him a few minutes. Like, he can't do any worse. He can't do any worse.
I don't think anyone can do any worse. I think the fact that he can't do any worse means that Ahmad probably can't do any worse, or Bruno probably can't do any worse, or maybe Garnacho probably can't do any worse. I think that's kind of what he's probably thinking. I'm trying to think who would suit playing that position the best, and I don't.
I'm looking at it. Initially, I thought Bruno, but then I don't think it will be Bruno because I think under Amram is best.
Yeah, like why would you go from playing as a deeper midfielder, dropping him further back, to just putting him as far forward as you can?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be Bruno because you need him further back because who moves further back if he's up front? It would be Mainoo, but Amram's literally just said that Mainoo is better and has more freedom when he's in the 10. So I think Mainoo's definitely a 10. I think Bruno and Ugarte are definitely the midfielders. I think it's between Garnacho and Ahmad. I think Ahmad will play up front, and I think Garnacho will play in the 10 with Kobe.
Yeah, I think Ahmad can definitely do it.
Might be a bit of switching.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I feel like it might just be like a free, almost like a free 10s, if you want to call it that, but all 3 of them are kind of like in that position where there might be one who's a bit more advanced that kind of pushes a bit further forward, and that probably will be Ahmad. Now that I'm thinking about it, Ahmad does press very well, and he does press very high as well.
Work rate's top, isn't it?
Very high. He'll be pressing the keeper a lot. So it does make sense that player will be Ahmad, but if behind him is Mainoo and Garnacho, I could see a lot of alternating, a lot of position switching, whatever you want to call it, between those three players. But that is very. Amorim, he does it every week, man. Sometimes I just think he can't. Literally, the last game, I was speaking to Tull and Sam, and I was saying, Amorim can't really surprise me anymore. I feel like I know kind of what he's going to do. Like he's made a lot of big decisions, and we've been surprised in the past, but now I kind of know where he's going to go. Now he's surprised me again. Completely shocked me. I don't know where in training this kind of came from, unless he just made a decision today. Well, obviously that's not possible. So he must have been training this during the week, surely. You don't just make the decision on the day.
He might say it's tactical, but I think it's a huge message to Højlund and Xerxes that you're not good enough. That's a. If you're a striker and you're seeing a winger start ahead of you as a striker, like it's not great for you. It's really not.
Yeah.
So, interesting. How are we feeling about it, guys? What are your predictions? Why don't we run a poll? Who will be number 9 for United today? Will it be Ahmad, Garnacho, or Bruno? We'll have them as the 3 options in the chat. I think it's going to be Ahmad. You think it's going to be?
I think Ahmad will be the best. I don't know if it will be though. I think he will be the best. It could just be Bruno and just he's just.
But then Mainoo's going to have to play deeper, which he doesn't. You know, he's just smashed it at 10. Why would he do that? Yeah.
But he can though, so it's not like it's.
Might include Martinez as an option actually.
Yeah, put Martinez in.
Put Martinez as an option as well. Thomas McCardle says strikers done nothing anyway. Sirabar says Maguire number 9. Ryan Taylor says Beth Footmob has Ahmad up front. Gunnar Roberts says Mainoo has great hold-up play, ... King Flick says Ahmad and Garnacho are our 9s and they will swap during the game. King at Flicks, I agree with you. Sirabar says Ahmad has played 9 before. Damien Sharp, thank you for your super chat. Enjoy Writing says you did well in Romania, Beth. Well done. Thank you very much. Sarthak Mishra says, what profile would you like to sign for the midfield in the summer? We can talk about that a little bit later into the show. Swipe FC says, last season, Jackson had the same goals amount as Rasmus. The amount of chances he had were astronomical in comparison. Strikers just don't succeed at United. Patrick Dorgu has said, Luca's trade is more important than my move.
Luca, that's NBA.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Miles Flood says, Ahmad must start at wing-back. It gives us more creativity out wide. Also love the streams. Keep it up. Miles, I love Ahmad at wing-back, but he's not starting there today. We know that. King says, why don't our strikers just shoot? If only it was as easy as that. Gerard Stroke says, we've done that one. And Sirabar says, Ahmad is the only one that has tactical discipline and football IQ to play different positions. That is... The poll is now up and running, by the way. Who will be at number 9 for Manchester United today? That is true about Ahmad. His footballing IQ does make him super versatile. Yeah.
He's probably our most versatile attacking player. I think that's the reason why Garnacho has to be one of the 10s, because we don't actually have another position for him anyway. Even the 10 position, people say that's not naturally his kind of position. So I think the fact that Ahmad... Like I said before, he presses really well, so he's going to be further forward. He naturally will press the keeper a lot. He's been doing that from wing back sometimes. You see him pressing the keeper and winning the ball high up. But I'm just looking at Bruno and I'm thinking, we have actually seen Bruno under Ten Hag, yeah, but we have seen Bruno be that 9 almost, or that kind of striker position. I don't know. I feel like
I think Bruno will be deeper.
What, 100% though? Because I feel like even though...
Yeah, because why does Amorim come out and say Kobe was so much better at playing further forward, he had more freedom, he struggled defensively in midfield, and then the next game put him into a position he's just said he struggled at?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
I think Mainoo has to play in the 10. And therefore it has to be Bruno next to Ugarte. And Bruno and Ugarte have been playing well together there.
Yeah.
So...
Ahmad striker. What happens if Ahmad just scores a hat-trick today?
He stays there. I mean, this is the interesting thing. Fabrizio Romano has just put out Højlund and Xerxes both on the bench at Manchester United today, while negotiations for Matthias Tell are still ongoing with Manchester United, pushing for a loan deal with a possible buy option. No decision yet made by Tell. So, interesting that Højlund and Xerxes are both benched. No, he's deciding between Arsenal, United and potentially staying at Bayern Munich. So, Tell, that if you're... Ruben Amorim, by the way, I don't know, this could be just me like massively overthinking it and deeping it. Tell's struggling to pick between Arsenal and United, right?
Yeah.
Romano said a couple hours ago that Henry and Ronaldo are two of his biggest idols, and he's struggling between them two teams.
Yeah.
Where are you going to get more game time? Ruben Amorim literally just dropped a lineup and said, I'm starting a lineup with no striker here. Come on over to Manchester United.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you're Tell, you're looking at that thinking, there is a spot for me to come into that team right now. The platform is there.
You are right, to be fair. But
has Amorim done that purposefully? You just don't know. Yeah. I might be deep in it massively.
I always used to think Amorim's not that kind of guy, but looking at this is as much of a message as you can get. Dropping both of your strikers. This isn't a rotation. We always speak about the difference between rotation and dropping. No, this is straight up. You have been dropped from this team. There's no two ways about it. That could be a very clear message to Tell.
Ruben Amorim could be after the game speaking to Tell, trying to convince him to come, saying, I literally didn't even pick a striker today in this lineup. You
will play.
You will have minutes. If you come in and perform, obviously you can never guarantee anyone minutes because you never know how good they're going to be, even though he does look very good.
Yeah.
You have got game time here. You have got a platform. I've got a plan for you, and I think that could persuade Tell to pick Manchester United on deadline day. Would you be happy with that signing? By the way, I'd be really happy with it.
Yeah, I would. I would have been a lot more. This isn't me trying to say I want Garnacho to leave, but if Garnacho had left, because obviously there was a lot of talks about it. If he had left, I would have been even more happy because he could have played that 10 position as well. But I think the fact that Garnacho staying, like I said before, I'm actually a Garnacho stay kind of guy. I'd want him to stay, just because of multiple reasons. We spoke about them loads of times. But yeah, I think he will be a good addition in that attacking area just because we just have no real goal threats. He even scored against United last season in the Champions League. The fact that he did that just kind of shows you that we need somebody who can actually just put the ball in the net. And not to say that he's like a 20-goal kind of player, but he's a lot better than our current options when it comes to just scoring and creating chances. So yeah, I'd be happy with it, very happy with it.
Dorgu and Tell in and Rashford and Anthony out does make for an interesting window, and I think it's a good window in the sense of the performance levels of Rashford and Anthony, them departing and bringing in Tell and Dorgu, who both have the attributes to play in this Ruben Amorim system. Tell could play 3 positions in this system. Dorgu, we know how multifaceted he is in terms of the different positions he played for Lecce, so versatile players as well. Young, 20 and 19, them players are. So it's interesting.
Another young player to the team, man.
Yeah. Let's see what the poll's saying as well. I can't see the results here, so if someone could WhatsApp me the results of the poll, that'd be great. Lee Burnham says this lineup is a message to the Glazers. And Jory Wrighton says we should be winning today, by the way. Points. Anil Sekshar says, I hope if Bruno doesn't play well, Amorim substitutes Bruno instead of another player. Sirabar says, Ahmad is the one who has a tactical discipline. I've done that one. The thing is, I've seen a lot of criticism of Bruno in the last game. Bruno is so important to Manchester United. In
the last game?
I've seen it online. I was watching the forum back after I was in the stadium in Bucharest, and I've seen a lot of criticism of Bruno, and I've seen it on Mark's player ratings as well. He's so important to the way we play.
Oh, is that why they were all saying Bruno man of the match?
I think
when we obviously you didn't see it. When we started, everyone was like Bruno man of the match. I think Mark must have sent everyone to say Bruno man of the match, and I clocked everyone was being sarcastic, or not sarcastic, but whatever the word is. But is that because everyone thought he was having a bad game? People
were criticising him, and I was like, if he doesn't play, Manchester United are a worse team, and that is just a fact. And Ruben Amorim knows that as well, and it's not a coincidence that every manager goes with him. And Ricky messaged me saying it's the end of January now and he's still starting. I was like, well, you're going to have to decide are you still coming to the games or not. But I think even he's a lot happy with him in that deeper role and his discipline there.
Yeah, I think Amorim's realised the problems, the weaknesses that Bruno has. Just the fact that, we all know it, we say it every single week, just the fact that he can be a bit erratic, lose the ball a lot, and sometimes he does that to run out of position and press by himself. And Amorim's kind of clocked it and said, you know what, if I just bring you a bit further back and just hold you, tell you to stay here for as long as you can, for the majority of the game, naturally you're going to go forward anyway, but for the majority of the game, just stay here, it kind of takes all that away, because he's not going to be throwing the ball away for no reason, because he's a lot deeper. his passing's gonna be a lot, better because he's making simpler passes, always trying to make the Hollywood pass, and he's not gonna run out of position as much.
Apparently. Whoa! Stop the poll. Actually, no, don't stop the poll because you put the option in there. I've had a message from somebody that I trust very much, who has told me that, exclusive from Beth on the United stand, he might not be right. Generally, do not take this as gospel. But the person who has messaged me, I trust very, very much. And he messaged me last night actually saying, I've got something mad to tell you about the team, but I'll tell you tomorrow. Yeah. He said, he's just messaged me saying, I wish I told you last night now. Apparently it's Cobby, Mainoo playing at number 9. That's what I've been told. Don't know if it's right. Apparently it's Mainoo playing at number 9.
Wow.
So,
wow.
What do you think about that?
I feel like I don't even know what to say anymore. I don't know what to say.
So we can end the poll.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure this is right. That Mainoo's at number 9.
I get it. I get he's good going forward. I know we asked for it, but we didn't ask for this though. I don't know what to say. I mean, we'll see in it. We'll have to see. I mean, everything I said before about why he's good in the 10 could also relate to why he'd be good in the 9. I mean, it's a different position. It's different. You need different attributes, different qualities. But definitely, we're playing how we play with Højlund. I mean, when Onana's firing them long balls up top, well, we expect Mainoo to be bringing it down and link up play. What's going to happen there?
He's so technically gifted, though.
Yeah, but that works better in a 10. That works a lot better in a 10 because you're playing on the edge of the box.
I'm adding Mainoo link up.
Yeah, I think, you know what it is? What I said before
I said, anyone can be better than what we've had with Xerxes Højlund right now. I'm sorry, but it's true.
Do you think Cobby will be better than Højlund as a 9?
Probably right now.
Yeah, to be fair, he probably would. He probably would.
We'll
know what? I'm a Cobby fan. Everyone knows I'm always backing Cobby, so I think he will play well today. I think he'll do good.
Well, we'll have to pause the Manchester United striker talk for a moment as we have Dee coming in to speak to us, a Crystal Palace fan. Dee, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Great to speak to you again. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. How are you lot?
We're good. We could be better. Results could be better. We could be further up the table, but you kind of know the feeling. 2 points behind United in the Premier League right now. Both of us, I think, would be expecting to have a bit of a better season. How are you feeling right now in terms of Glasner, the Palace team, and are you confident going to Old Trafford today?
I am actually confident. I'm confident without Eze even starting. I mean, you look at the bench, you've got some players for Palace that could come on and make a massive impact. But the reason why I am confident, and I don't want to sound cocky, is because of what I've seen from Man United so far. I think Ruben Amorim is a great coach, but I don't think right now he's got the players to kind of play his system to the level that he wants. So I think this is another opportunity for Palace, which, I mean, last season we came to Old Trafford with Roy Hodgson, managed to get a 1-0 win. Earlier on in the season, it was that 0-0. So, we've got decent results against United, and I think it's another opportunity with Oliver Glasner, a manager which I think all Palace fans trust, to set us up in the right way to get a result. So yeah, if everything aligned well for us, yes. But then again, when I was looking at that United lineup, I was thinking, who's playing up front for United? For this game, it seems like Amorim has actually changed it about, especially up top. So that's the only worry that I've got. I don't know exactly how you lot are going to set up there, and I'm pretty sure Glasner wouldn't as well.
Are you surprised that Ruben Amorim's gone with no, certified striker, or are you not considering how our strikers have performed this season?
Yeah, your strikers haven't performed, so something needs to change. And I mean, Xerxes come in and he's actually played decent at times with his link-up play. Højlund has had his moments as well, but I think both of them, haven't reached a level that they should for, especially for Man United striker. So I think something needed to change. And I was actually looking forward to one of them to playing up front, because with our back three, I think it would have been a bit more easier to defend against those. With the approach that he's done now, I don't know who's going to play up front, maybe Bruno, or I genuinely don't know. Maybe you lot know better than me. There might be pacing behind, so it might be a bit more difficult for our defenders to try and stop you lot. But then again, we've got Lecroix, who's got a lot of pace, especially in that back three. He plays in the middle of the back three, so we'll see how he deals with that. But it is something to think about, because we don't know how much of an impact it's going to have, as I haven't seen it before, and I watched quite a few United games, and I mean, no one's really seen it because it hasn't happened.
Yeah, I mean, Mordzs, if you want to name the question.
Well, obviously, first of all, I mean, we just talked about it before. It might actually be Kobe in a 9.
Okay.
I don't. I'll be honest. I'm the same as everybody else. I don't know how it's gonna work. I don't know what tactics are gonna do with that. But that's obviously what we're hearing now. But I mean, I've got a couple of questions anyway about Palace. Firstly, Eze, what is the situation with Eze right now?
So he's had an injury since last year, towards the end of the year. And Glasner did say that he wasn't available for this game. So we're all a bit confused on how he ended up on the bench. Maybe he felt good last night. We've been managing the injury well. So he's on the bench. He might be able to play 15, 20 minutes. But the positive about Palace is that Adam Wharton is back. And apparently he's feeling better than before. Adam Wharton, he had this injury coming into the season. Yeah. We delayed his surgery. Then he ended up getting a surgery. And he was meant to be back after like a few weeks, and it took him 3 months. However, right now, if he feels good, so he's an option. Romain Esse, who came on against Brentford, scored a goal in his first touch. He's a creative option as well. So we've got a lot of creative options off the bench. However, they are very limited, and Eze is one of them. And Eze's had a weird season so far. If you ask Palace fans, in his last 5 or 6 games, he's got a few GAs and goals and assists. But overall, his season so far hasn't lived up to the expectations that we all know he can deliver in. So it's been a bit disappointing in that regards. But, he's coming off the bench today. If he can come off and play 15, 20 minutes if we need a goal, then it's a very good player to have.
I'm a fan of Eze. I think you're a fan of Eze as well.
Yeah, I really am.
And obviously last season, him and Elise was kind of like this duo that was, they were kind of firing, and both of them kind of take in terms of getting a goal or assist here. You obviously did lose Elise to Bayern Munich, and I mean, he's gone on to do great things anyway. How different has your attack been compared to last season? Because obviously I remember what you would like against us, and obviously watching a few of your other games. What is the main differences in your attack now that you've lost a player like Elise? Is it obviously declined a lot, or is it just, have you just altered the way how you kind of attack?
Yeah, we've definitely altered the way we attack, because Ismail Sarr, who's come in and he has got goals, he's not a number 10. He's more of a player that runs in behind. He's got pace, he's comfortable in front of goal. But that is different to what Eze does, for example. Even what Elise did for us, where he can get on the ball, and you saw it even last season in that 4-0 win. With running past players when Elise gets on the ball, when Eze gets on the ball. And Sarr can do that, but he doesn't really operate well in tight spaces. More of a player which, if there is spacing behind, that's how he attacks it. So in a way, we've all debated this amongst Palace fans, saying, has this impacted Eze's play? Because we don't really have we struggle to find the balance. And that is the reason why we signed that youngster Romain Esse from Millwall. Because he's meant to be another creative spark who can go on the ball and create chances. So, we've had a few problems so far this year with the left wing-back situation. A lot of people rate Tyrick Mitchell, especially neutrals, and Palace fans do as well, including myself. However, he's limited going forward. He has been limited. He's very good defensively, but in the wing-back situations, as you could probably tell with some of your players, you have to be able to do well going forward as well as defensively, because you provide a width to the team. So Eze on the left-hand side, he hasn't really had that width, because Mitchell has been, left open by teams, because, they're like, putting the ball in the box. That's fine with us. So he hasn't really had that space. And Sarr, of course, is not that creative number 10. So it's like teams have been focusing on Eze a bit more. However, still, some of the performances that he's had, it hasn't been good enough to his levels, like his decision-making, his passing. So there's a bit of balance between, us missing plays around him, as well as Eze himself not performing to the levels.
Okay, one more question. Do you think you're losing?
Do I think we're losing?
Yeah. No, do you think you will lose him?
I don't think I am. I'll be honest, I don't think we are.
No, I mean, do you think you'll lose him?
Oh, Eze?
Yeah.
Well, we tried to, I don't know, because we did think that maybe there might be a few bids in the summer. And Steve Parish came out and said that we were basically shocked. No one came in for him. And there is a question about what is Eze's level. Can he do it at a top 6 side? Yeah. He has got a release clause of around 60 to 65 million pounds, but no one was willing to even entertain it. So it's hard to say, but maybe if he performs in the second half of the season, then again, I don't think a lot of Palace fans would be majorly upset, which sounds crazy, of us losing Eze.
Wow. It's a big change.
It is. I mean, I think he's a quality player. I think injuries have held him back a little bit in terms of getting that move, no disrespect, but the next move up to a top club. But I think he's quality, and I actually think because of his attributes of being able to play winger and sort of number 10 in that left-sided 10 spot, which is what we have, he'd do a really good job. But it's just the injuries that do hold a concern for me. I mean, in terms of Manchester United players, D, is there anyone at Manchester United, because we always ask the opposition fan that comes here, is there any one player at Manchester United that you would take in the Palace team? If you could pick one, who would it be?
Ahmad. We've needed someone like that alongside Eze for the reasons that I've listed, because he's that creative number 10. And he's a player that I'm looking at today in terms of if we can stop him, I think we've got a decent chance, because I think he's your creative spark. He gets on the ball. And to be fair, there have been, I don't know what you lot think about it, but there have been a few teams that have been focusing on Ahmad a bit more.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Recently. So I wonder how Palace are going to approach it in this game, because we genuinely need to do that, because we've seen it with teams doing it to Eze. And because once you take out your main creative player out of the team, and it's like, who else is going to step up? So I think Ahmad would be fantastic for Palace. I really do, but of course that's not going to happen.
It feels as though if you nullify Eze or you nullify Ahmad, like there's not much left, and then it's a lot harder for that team to go on and score the goals. And I have noticed that in the last few games for us, people have cottoned onto that, and I'm sure like they've done the same with Eze at Crystal Palace. But also, thoughts on Ruben Amorim, new manager coming in midway through a season. I don't know how many Manchester United games you've managed to watch, and maybe try not to fall asleep in some of them. But how do you rate him, and do you think he'll end up being a success at United?
He's a great coach. But seeing him over the past few months, you can tell he's like aging very fast. Being at Man United,
said he feels 50, not 40.
And the reason why I think he's struggling, to be fair, is that I don't think the squad is set up for this system. Yeah. So I do think he needs to be back in the transfer market, especially in the long run. With wing backs coming in, because we've seen at Palace as well, going from a back four to a back three. It is a whole different game in terms of how you approach your build-up play, as well as in possession, out of possession as well. So I think he's a fantastic coach, but his success, of course, it depends on him, but it also depends on how much the United ownership get behind him, and also give the players that he needs, because it's not even wants. I think there are needs in the United side. There is a reason why there's no strikers playing today, because he feels like they're not good enough. And there are other players that have to play today because there's no other options. So yeah, I think you've got a great coach, but it's about what you do from here onwards, and you have to be, I guess, patient with him. But it all depends on how patient the ownership wants to be with him, because when you look at the bigger picture, it is Manchester United. You can't be bottom half go next season as well. Of course, there's a good chunk this season for you to progress and finish top half, or maybe even European spots. But it's asking an awful lot with that squad.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I agree with you massively. Last but not least, I just thought I'd throw in this, because I like to get, an unbiased opinion. If you're a Manchester United fan and someone offers 70 million for Garnacho, do you take it? Because that has been the rumour at Manchester United about him potentially going. You
70 million pounds, 100%. If you do good recruitment, you can do better than Garnacho.
What's the lowest you go?
What's the lowest I go?
Yeah.
I go around 50 to 40.
Wow.
50 to 40?
Yeah.
So you don't rate him that highly then?
I don't rate him that highly. I think he has moments, but I think you can do much better than Garnacho as well.
That's why I like to get an unbiased opinion in.
Sorry, say that again.
He has a lot of potential. But let's just say £50 million. That's the lowest I'll go for Garnacho. It's like £20 million less than 70, but I don't know what you lot reckon is worth more than 70.
I think for his age and his potential, I think around 65 to 70 is what he's worth. I don't want to sell him right now, but it's something that in the summer will be, and again, another question mark depending on how he performs from now until the end of the season, I think.
Yeah, I'm just not sure for 40, 50 million pounds you get a better 20-year-old. I'm just not sure.
Well, we got Elise for £8 million.
Yeah, but that's Elise is like he's. You know what I mean? Like, there's levels in it. Like right now, he's probably worth like 70, 80, 90 million pounds. So
there are levels, but if you look at the Brightons and the Palaces, like there are players out there, And that's the reason why we get some of these players and that they're linked. So it all depends on your recruitment. So I think Garnacho is not an awful player, but I think you can definitely do better than him. But yeah, what you said, I understand it because there isn't for like 20, 30 million pounds. Who else is going to do better than Garnacho? But there are players out there that do better. It's just about finding them.
It's about finding them. That's the most difficult thing, really. And I don't trust United in finding them, I'll be honest. But yeah, I mean, anything else?
Last but not least, score prediction, please.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did kind of give a spoiler alert earlier because I thought you were talking about whoever Palace is going to win or lose today. I am actually a bit, I am confident. I'm not going to lie. I'm confident because of our manager more than anything. I'm going to go for 1-0 Palace. We've been okay defensively with no striker up front. Let's see how you lot approach it. But yeah, I'm going to go for 1-0 Palace. Another repeat of the game that we had last year. I'll take that.
Yeah, apart from the, we won't talk about it, but the Casemiro horror show at Selhurst Park, it's usually quite a low-scoring game, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think you're along the right track in that way, but I think you've gone for the wrong team to win. I think it'll be the other way around.
Other way around. Well, let's see.
Let's see. D, look, thank you so much for joining us. Where can anybody find you?
Yeah, Back of the Nest on YouTube and all other social media platforms. Crystal Palace fan channel, just reviews, previews, reactions, everything. So thank you for having me on.
Thank you very much. I'm going to try and get myself down to Selhurst soon because, such a good stadium. But thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. And I would say good luck, but we wouldn't mean it, would we? But thank you.
Exactly. We'll talk about luck after.
Yeah.
All right, see you.
See you later.
Take care.
Wow.
Interesting on the Garnacho front.
40-50 is a stretch.
The reason why I asked him is because whenever I speak to my friends who aren't United fans, they always say
the same thing.
They say he's not as good as what you think. But I don't know. I want to keep him for now. And I think ever since there's been any rumours of him going, he's stepped up massively. Like the last few games, he's played really well.
He's put some numbers on the board. He got the assist the last game. I think he got the assist the last game to Cobby. It was
a good pass back.
And he's been doing it sometimes starting, sometimes off the bench, and I feel like that's a good thing. Is like he doesn't have to always start just to get a goal and assist. He can come off the bench. I think the Liverpool game, I know that was a while ago now, but he came off the bench that game and got the assist to, I think, I can't remember who scored that goal. I think Bruno. So yeah, I mean, I would still keep him. And like you said, finding a player like of Garnacho's quality for a cheap price is not easy. Like most teams just don't do it. In fact, it's usually the smaller teams that end up doing it because that's kind of where the budget has to lie. The budget is in that 20-30 million pound range, so they kind of have to go out and find players like that. So a club like United, we don't really look like that level to find like top quality players. So I think it'd be difficult to find a cheap player with Garnacho's quality.
Side note, by the way, Evan Ferguson to West Ham. Here we go on a loan.
Here we go
on a loan, yeah.
Oh, on a loan. Okay.
Yeah. So
that makes I think that makes sense.
It's a good move, I think, for West Ham, and I'll be interested to see how he does because I think he'll get game time, and obviously he's just been frozen out at Brighton. Really.
He needs it. He's never going to get into that starting 11. Especially at that age with João Pedro and Danny Welbeck even.
I know, but Evan Ferguson was killing it under
last season,
under De Zerbi, yeah. So.
But. Yeah, I think it's great for him to get like some more play time, especially to the end of the season anyway.
We've got Booyaka Game says Bruno is up front according to Google lineups. Bruno isn't up front today, I don't think. But Google lineups, everyone has their own interpretation, don't they? See. Alexander Korn says Kobe was a striker before. Theodore says Kobe grew up as a striker, was a striker at the academy. King Flick says Mainoo, the next Harry Kane. And Joy Wrighton says the lineup is hilarious but tragic too. Kai says this could be very risky playing all of our wingers / attacking midfielders at once. Hopefully no injuries. Lee Berman says this lineup is a message to the Glazers. I mean, there is some quotes coming in from Ruben Amorim on his starting 11 today. And he has said, Let me get it up. He said, on his 11, the rotation is mainly the idea. It's system against system. Try to take some reference. Try to play in different positions to create some danger. Also, we need to improve the way we take the game into the last third. So we need to have more possession. That is the idea. He then speaks on Mainoo individually and says, I really like him with the ball. Sometimes you have more space in the build-up phase. Sometimes you have more space between the lines. And I think he's a good player because he can hold up the ball. And sometimes we can start the play, but then when the ball reaches some levels, and especially between the lines, we have some problems. So Mainoo is in there to provide that. He then says he's very good 1-against-1 near the box. He's creative, and we need some creativity sometimes in the last third.
So it's 100% Kobe.
I mean, he's not come out and said it, but I did say, like, it sounds like it is him.
That's crazy.
He needs some creativity, he needs some hold-up play.
He was my
and
player to
another
watch, to be
dig at the strikers, I think.
Yeah. The fact, I'll be honest, if I'm a striker and you're putting Mainoo above me, I'm taking that as just sell me today. Like, just sell me. You don't want me in your team. Like, you're putting Mainoo. Not to say Mainoo's a bad player, but you put in a player who's naturally he's been playing deeper this whole season, and you just put him above me in a position that he's not played at all in the first team. I know they said in the academy he played there, but I don't hear that either, because playing a striker against a bunch of 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds ain't the same as playing against some grown men. Like, you can't say he plays striker in his academy so he knows what he's doing. Like, it's a completely different level.
But also the strikers have no leg to stand on, because Højlund has failed to score in 24 of his last 29 matches, and Xerxes failed to score in 31 of his 34 games for United. 31
out of 34? I mean,
yeah.
29, what was it?
24 out of 29.
24 out of 29 is just as bad. I was going to say they're both terrible.
It's like, that is bad for a striker.
What did I see the other day? Højlund's only scored in 36... No, he hasn't scored in 36 out of 48 Premier League games that he's played in. Something like that. I can't remember that like that. Someone in the chat will know what I'm talking about, but... Yeah, it's the numbers are not in his favour, and the performances are not in his favour either. So if he was putting in great performances and not scoring, I don't think anyone would mind, because we'd still be a better team with him. But we're not a better team with him, or either of them, to be fair.
I saw someone say something wild on Twitter last night, but I might save that for a few more shows coming up. It was just basically talking about how people talk about how bad certain signings have been, but realistically, like, you know, as much as we saw the potential in Højlund, he's been here for like nearly 2 seasons now, and what has he actually given us, really?
I don't know what he's given us. I mean, yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Kind of agree.
£72 million.
That is a wild. I think that's the worst part, I'll be honest. The fact that he was £70 million is it's like they asked Atlanta, what do you want? Like, just give me any number and we'll buy it, and then they pretty much did. And then
I've said it over and over again. He should have come in for 30 million with an experienced striker as well. So he should have been like the Alvarez to a Haaland that we brought in, like that sort of, you know, like a. To be fair, Alvarez is top draw, so I can't even say that. But we should have had the number 1 experienced striker coming in and Højlund coming in to learn off him. He shouldn't have had, you know, be made to be the number 9.
He's not even. Away. I don't think he's a starting striker for any team anyway. I'm not even saying it because he's bad. He's just not ready yet. He should have been on loan. Like, Højlund should have been on loan. That's what he should have done. You know, when we bought him, I think the season before that at Atlanta, he'd only played like 21 games or something like that in the season. He wasn't even ready to play first team football yet. He should have went on loan somewhere. We shouldn't have even bought him. We should have done them a favour and told them we'll take him on loan for a season and see how he does, instead of us actually buying him, because he just wasn't ready to play that level football for a full season. Yeah, he came injured as well, which even adds to it. So, yeah, I'm not saying I've given up on him, to be fair. Like, I still hope that he does get better. I hope that he does improve, but what we thought is definitely not what we bought. Mm-hmm.
Player to watch?
Well, my player to watch was actually Mainoo.
So was mine.
It actually makes sense.
So it makes so much sense.
It makes so much sense. So, I mean, it's kind of obvious why now. I mean,
what would you do today if like Mainoo
bags like 17 goals?
Even if he scores 1 from that position, it's an improvement on what we've had recently.
If we look better with me, and I actually do think we will look better. Like, I think in general we look better. Maybe like, as a goal scoring threat, I'm not sure about that. That's definitely up in the air. But as a team, we are definitely going to look a lot more organised with Mainoo in that position, just because We're going to keep the ball a lot better going forward. We're not going to lose the ball. We're going to, you know, we've spoke already 100 times about his attributes, you know, going forward. So him linking up with Ahmad and Garnacho, and even Bruno, is going to make a lot of sense anyway. So, look, if we look like a better team today, yo, I don't know who our next game is. I can't remember, but I wouldn't mind seeing it again. I wouldn't mind seeing it multiple games. If that's what's got to happen, I'm all for it. If we look better. If we don't look better, then change it quickly and we'll go back to what we did last week.
By the way, Oliver Glasner's come out and Eze is on the bench apparently. Surprisingly for all of us, he could train yesterday, so it's a great job from our medical department. It's not possible for him to start, but he does want to contribute. So when we thought Eze was out, he's actually on the bench, which isn't great for us.
I think Dean said it as well.
Oh yeah.
He said it.
Oh. My mind's going blank. Why have I remember that. It's because I'm trying to think about 5 different things at once. But yeah, Eze off the bench could cause a little bit of damage.
So who's starting for them?
Pardon?
Who's starting for them?
Let me get their lineup up. Hold on. It is. Let me get it up. Sorry, my phone's being so slow. So their lineup is Henderson in goal, blast from the past. You've got the usual back 3 in. You've got Gahey, Lacroix, Richards. You've got Mitchell, Lerma, Hughes, Munoz, Kamada, Sarr, and Mateta.
Kamada, Sarr, Mateta. Okay.
Players that stand out to me in that is Sarr, Munoz, and Mateta.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think Sarr's so powerful in the middle of the pitch.
Yeah.
He's going to need to be controlled. Munoz getting forward provides a lot, and Mateta is going to be a handful in the box, but. I think we should come out on top in this game. I mean, in terms of your score prediction, what have you actually gone with?
I didn't see my score prediction in the chat. Does that mean my score prediction's not on the graphic? I just realised. I think. I'm gonna go with. Now that the team's completely changed, I genuinely don't know. I'm gonna say 2-0. I'm gonna say 2-0.
2-0 United?
Just because I feel like defensively we're not a bad team. I think we just can be dumb sometimes. I just think I'm comfortable with this. Did you say Yoro was started?
Yeah.
So Yoro started in defence.
Big game for him, by the way.
Yeah.
This Palace team is no joke. Like they will be physical.
They'll press him heavy.
Yeah, he's gonna be up against it today, Yoro, and that just shows faith in there from Amarim. He's my player to watch actually. Yoro, yeah. And Ahmad, because I think Ahmad has been targeted the last few games. So how he gets through that. So Yoro, Ahmad, Mainoo, like players to watch for me.
Yeah, I agree. But I still think I think we're gonna come with the win. Defensively, I think we're strong, so I'm hoping we're gonna get a clean sheet. I think the fact that we've got another midfielder in, like Ricky's been begging for more midfielders. We put another midfielder in striker, so we should be even more compact today. So they shouldn't be running through us on any kind of transition. Yeah, I'm gonna take a 2-win, a 2-0 win. A
2-0 win. I'm gonna go
maybe even more.
I'm gonna go with a 2-1 win to Manchester United.
You think they're gonna concede?
Yeah.
I think
we will. Sorry.
I don't think they have, because we're, like, for example, set pieces, we're terrible. I don't think they're the greatest on set pieces. Like, Eze is probably their best set piece taker.
Don't say this, and now they're gonna score for set piece more.
Okay,
do you realise?
No, they're not terrible. I'm not saying they're terrible, but like, they're not bad. But I just think they're not like crazy, like an Arsenal or one of those teams where it's like, oh, did you know they're gonna score a goal from a set piece today? And like I said, Eze is probably their best set piece taker. He's on the bench. So that side of the game, I don't think we're gonna concede, and I don't think they're gonna run through us like on the transition. They're gonna play on the transition. That's how they play anyway. They play with wing backs as well, so they're gonna have them high up the pitch. I don't know. I feel like we can manage what they have to offer. So I think defensively we're going to be strong today.
So you're going clean sheet?
I'm going clean sheet.
You're going clean sheet. Score predictions will be up on the board. I'm going with a 2-1 Manchester United win. I think we will get it over the line, but we might concede like a dodgy goal here or there, maybe. So I'm going for a 2-1 United win. Yeah. Hopefully we'll see Dorgu and Heaven unveiled on the Old Trafford pitch. Also, if Mainoo, plays well today or gets a goal, the service excuse he's going to be looking.
I'm not hearing it anyway. I'll be honest. I've given up on that service thing. You create your own chances. Yeah, because Mainoo, watch today. Yeah, I'll put money on it. Mainoo will score today. Yeah, and he's going to create his own chance. It's not even because it could be somebody else. He's going to make his own chance and show Harden how it's done.
Last super chat, Anglin says Xerxes would have been good in a Ten Hag team, linking up with the wingers in behind. It doesn't work in this system. And Ez Bunny says made a sweet offering in my local temple today for today's win. Hope we get the win. all the luck is needed, all the prayers are needed. But Manchester United against Crystal Palace, good vibes. Dorgu and Heaven signings coming in. Can we get Tell across the line? You know, Kobbie Mainoo, we think is starting up front for Manchester United. It's going to be an interesting 2 p.m. kickoff. Yeah. Mark is now live, so go and infiltrate the chat with Mainoo at 9.
Okay, Mainoo at 9.
Mainoo at 9. Mainoo at 9. I hope I'm right on this now. If I'm not, I'm gonna, you know.
No, but
I did say 90% sure.
It does sound like Amram saying that though. So
Mainoo at 9. Go and infiltrate the chat. Thank you for watching. Come on, United.